It's now only 2 days until the Quest 2 starts shipping, meaning there's going to be a lot of people brand new to VR. In this video, we'll talk about things that you should never do in VR and a few top tips to stay safe. Hello and welcome back to the VRCauldron. If you're new to the channel, I've been talking a lot about the Quest 2, so if you love some Quest and VR content and want to join the fantastic community, then subscribe to stick around. I would love to have you here.
Hey, take it easy, man.
Before we begin, just a tiny bit of news about the game I reviewed in my last video, Dash Dash World. There's been a few issues at launch with a lack of cross-buy that has led to some negative reviews. The devs are working to put this right and want nothing more than to please you guys, so please keep your eye on that because it really is VR's Mario Kart and it didn't get a VRC Gold award for nothing. They haven't paid me to say this, I simply feel strongly that a great game should be enjoyed by as many people as possible, and it's got loads of customization with no microtransactions. Population 1! So, your VR survival guide is starting now, and no, that thumbnail is not clickbait. In we go. I'm going to open with something obvious. Don't drink and vibe. Well, don't drink when doing VR anyway. This is not pancake gaming. You do need to retain a sense of balance in virtual reality. Otherwise, this will happen. You know, at first I thought they just forgot that they were in the real world, but now I'm pretty much sure they were all just drunk. My family all tried the plank experience earlier, and none of us face planted like those people. But just in case, tip number 2 is put your foot down. Tip number 3 is going to save your knuckles and your controllers, and that is draw your boundary about a foot away from things that you could hit. That way the boundary should pop up to warn you before you have the chance to hit something. Now the next two are both lens related and a bit boring if I'm honest, but no less important. Number 4 is be very careful if you wear glasses in VR. I personally wear my glasses with the Quest 1 and Rift with no issues, but be careful and use the glasses spacer that comes with the Quest 2 if in doubt. I'd love to recommend the prescription lens inserts from Widmo VR because I hear they're great, but it does make it harder to share the headset, and I'm all about sharing the VR experience in non-COVID times of course. You can also get some 3D printed lens rims which extend beyond the lenses, which prevents your glasses and lens from meeting. I've never used them personally though, so if someone has, feel free to recommend some down in the comments below. Number 5 is don't clean your lenses with your clothes. You will get away with this most of the time, but one time if there's a bit of grit in your clothing, then it's going to make a really horrible mark. Stick to a nice microfiber cleaning cloth, just like the ones you get with a pair of glasses. And no, don't use your COVID mask either. Top tip number 6, and it should be obvious, is to use the wrist ties. The possibility of throwing your controllers across the room is very real. Surely we learned this from the older generation's experience with Wiimotes. Oh, simpler times. Personally, I use these grips from Kiwi, and not only do they help me stop throwing the controllers, but they also allow you to not have to hold on to them all of the time. Meaning, if you aren't holding something in the game, then you don't have to hold something in real life. Immersion tip number 6.5. Now, top tip number 7, and we get into the fun stuff now, is if you go to the developer options on your Quest, you can actually fully turn off the Guardian. Now, why would you want to do this, I hear you ask? Well, for one, you can run around your house on your Quest, but that's really dangerous, or you could take it into a sports hall and not have to do this.
So mate, how is VR dog walking? Is it alright?
Now, I did that for safety reasons, but something you can also do once it's off, and this brings us to top tip number 8, be very careful when doing this, but you can take the Quest outside. Yes, it does work outside, and yes, it's fantastic, but if the sun hits your lenses, it can focus the sun and cause a nice big immersion killing burn mark inside the Quest on the screen, pretty much destroying your VR experience by permanently damaging your headset. So don't do it if the sun's out.
What? The sun's come out. I know.
So we're heading to the last 2 top tips, and these things are simply 2 of the many ideas I've got planned for field scale Quest, so make sure you subscribe if you don't want to miss that. So top tip number 9 is don't go for a walk in VR whilst outside. You have no awareness of your surroundings, so you could get robbed or attacked, you could walk into a lamppost or tread on a dog. Despite how lovely it looks walking through the battle-scarred, poorly textured suburban area of Onward, it's just not worth it.
Wait, the bike! The bike!
Flashbang.
I'm
And finally, since walking around in VR is such an immersive experience due to the world moving at the same rate both inside and outside of the headset, I did wonder if I'd be able to do other slightly more dangerous things too. Only slightly more. I'm not a crazy person, and unlike some people, I do actually care about my headset. So the question that I wanted answered is this: can you ride a bike in VR? Or rather, can you ride it in real life but use the visual information from inside your headset to keep your balance in real life? And we're about to find out. Now, I don't actually own a bike, so I had to use my wife's lovely purple butterfly bike. There's a nice field by our house which was quite secluded, although all the dog walkers did seem to turn up at the same time as the sun.
What? How is Daddy doing that inside his
It's about
VR?
to crash into a tree.
Surprisingly, riding in VR seemed just as natural as riding in real life. The 6 degrees of freedom of the Quest meant that every real-world movement was translated perfectly into the headset, so I was able to use the virtual world of Onward to keep myself up and moving.
Crash! You're gonna crash!
You're gonna crash. You're gonna crash.
I obviously didn't have a bike in Onward, but it didn't seem to matter. Apart from almost crashing into the trees a few times, the test was definitely a success. However, that doesn't mean that Quest owners should start wearing their headsets on the morning cycle to work. On roads it would be extremely dangerous and you do look stupid.
Alex, careful.
I reckon. Right, this is giving me ideas.
Will.
Sometimes I just lose.
So, top tip number 10. Don't wear your headset when riding a bike in real life. Yes, it can be done and it's opened a Pandora's box of ideas for me personally, but it's still pretty stupid and totally impractical. But if it was an AR headset, then we'd be talking. If you want to ride a bike in VR, use something like the Zoom as seen here, being ably demonstrated by the excellent Steve Knows VR. Check him out if you like to keep up with the latest and greatest VR news stories. His channel link is down below. Now, if you found this video at all helpful or maybe even entertaining, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, and if you have any VR related questions, ask away down below. Remember, if you want to stick around for the VR talk, for the advice, or to help me help others, then don't forget to subscribe. Our comment sections here are basically like a wholesome VR enthusiasts forum, and I'd like to give a huge thank you to everyone who stops by and writes something. So, I've been Al, thanks for watching the VRCauldron, take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you next time. See ya! When I'm upside down.